Welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. With over 20 years of real estate experience and selling over 150 homes a year, Laura Sanders is the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Florida for 2021. Join us each week as we discuss how to make money through buying and flipping homes to renting versus selling and everything in between. To join the conversation, call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A.
Hi, welcome to Making Money with Laura, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about title insurance and probably some other things as well, but let's talk about title insurance. What is title insurance? Why do you need title insurance? What does title insurance cost? What does it cost for you? It happens to be an optional thing that you can purchase, but why would you not want it to be optional? So let's talk about that. We have Josh, one of the owners of Title Brothers, with us here, and also one of our sponsors. We're really happy to have you with us today. Welcome, Josh.
Thanks for having me again.
So, title insurance.
Yeah.
Most people get to the closing, and in parentheses it says optional. And then they're like, why am I paying $7,000 for this? They're like, it says it's optional. Do you get that a lot?
Sometimes, not, well, most closings, or the majority of closings we do are financing versus cash. And the reason I bring that up is because if someone is getting a mortgage or any type of financing for a closing, the lender is going to require
That's lender title.
Right, no, I know.
So that's required, that's not optional.
For sure. And I think when
and
people...
that doesn't protect them.
No, but when people see that the lender is getting insurance to cover their loan, most people then go to feel that they need to get it as well, because at least, I mean, I would feel like that too. And I don't...
And you see, I get a lot different response from my customers when, first of all, when you go to a closing, when you buy cash, people's closing costs are a lot less, because you do obviously cash transactions, right?
Yeah,
and you
for sure.
do finance transactions.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the reason why the finance ones look like the costs are so much is because they're collecting all these other fees, which they're not fees, they're actually your prepaids.
Right, that.
You're paying 1 year of your insurance up front when you get a mortgage, where you don't have to do that when you pay cash.
And
you're not requiring,
escrows,
right? You're not requiring yourself to put 4 months of the taxes into an escrow account, an additional 4 months of insurance on top of the full year that you paid. So
and some intangible tax that's like just basically a county tax that's for recording the mortgage as well. So there's all these other little things
that you don't have when you pay cash. But and what, in essence, you're getting all that money back later on when you sell. It's kind of somebody's holding your money for you.
Right.
You're going to pay this money anyway. It's just not being paid up front.
Yeah, and some people, even if they do a mortgage, if the lender approves it, you can waive some of that stuff, but then most people just like to pay it like per month or escrow for it, and instead of having like a big bill at the end of the year.
Right. So what I was looking at is that I find a lot of times my customers are like, this says optional, so why am I getting this? And I'm saying to them, well, there's a lot of reasons why you're getting it. And they'll be like, well, nobody but one of their owners ever owned it. I'll give you a perfect example. And this happened about 15 years ago. I was selling a property in Boca, and it actually had a title problem, and it was only owned by one person prior to these people buying it. So they were like, how does that happen? In fact, they even had an open screen permit from when the builder built it.
Right.
So the builder closed with the buyer, then they sold it to these people. Now these people were selling it, and now here they're stuck with something from the builder. I see pool permits open all the time, you know, but typically title policies don't cover that kind of stuff, but they do cover.
Yeah, so like the permits and open permits that were never closed aren't really like so much of a title issue. You could just get the county to come out and close the permit, and then almost like go backwards if you didn't.
Well, I'll give you, that's, so you're making it sound easy.
But I mean, it's not
pool
easy
permits,
to deal with the county.
No, but pool permits, right? Let's say house is built in 2000. And now the pool, this isn't covered by title.
No.
Right? This is a big problem. So I've had this happen several times in
you
in
might
an
get
area.
assessed with.
Well, no, it's not up to code. So now they're like, well, the permit was never closed out. In order to get the permit closed out, it's not going to be to code from 2000. It's got to be code today, and code changed.
Right.
So now you got to bring your house up to code, and
Costs money.
yeah, and some of these contractors want like $5,000-$6,000 to
Yeah.
do this, and I don't know. I know for sure in the city of Coral Springs, and maybe you could tell me better in other cities, that if you go to pull a permit yourself personally, you cannot sell for 1 year. I know for a fact in the city of Coral Springs that is true.
Yeah, those type
Have
of
you
things.
seen that?
Those type of things change like per city and municipality. And honestly, Dana, who's like the title
Guru?
wizard in my office, she's the guru. She would know like per city. But you're 100% right on the fact that it could cost the client money or the seller money, because what I meant before is not like a title issue. It's not going to prevent you from selling your home, but you might have to spend money, which is like really
Or-
annoying and unfortunate. But other things that could be more of like a title issue is if someone was actually sold the home, but it really belonged to someone else, so you actually weren't delivered clear title. So like that's more stuff that title
Right.
insurance
And
protects.
that's why, yeah, and back in like 2005, when the market was crazy, people really weren't doing this, and you found that, and there's really no liability on you if you're doing the title search for the buyer, and then they go back to sell it 5 years. Obviously, you want to do a good job and don't want your name put in the mud. But
course.
they come back and they say, oh, you never told me that there was an open pool permit, or there
Right.
was an open fence permit that was never closed out. That's a problem.
Yeah.
But that's not covered by title. So that's
Yeah.
one misconception, a myth, that people think that those things would be covered by your title policy. What could be covered by your title policy would be something to the effect of house is built in 1965. 3 or 4 sales go on. All of a sudden, because people are getting smarter today with computers, they go down and they say, this gets very convoluted, but very convoluted, right?
Yeah.
That this person sold the house, but they were actually married at the time.
Right.
And they signed, but the wife didn't sign.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly,
So
stuff
now you
like
got to go
that.
back and get the wife to sign, but the wife is dead now. So now you got to go back and find the wife's heirs, whoever was inheriting their, and get them to sign an affidavit. But now you got to find them. So when this happens, and you can't find these people, that's what you would have to do if you didn't have a title policy, right?
Right.
Now, if you have a title policy, explain to us what would happen then.
I mean,
Not easy either,
No,
but
each
it's good to
situation
have.
would be different, and because it, even if you need to go do that, or there's like legal fees, like it could cover that type of expense, and it would be sorted out like through the policy, like who actually had the rights to deliver clear title. But it's more so who really owns the home versus like the permit stuff kind of like drags on, which would be a different thing.
Yeah,
right?
permits and
Yeah.
all that, I'm just bringing that up
Yeah,
because I
exactly,
think that's
yeah.
a myth
Yeah.
that people don't understand, that has nothing to do with title policy.
Right.
Title policy is about the title being conveyed over
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
new buyers. And so a lot of people will say, well, it's only been one owner, so how could there be any problems?
Yeah.
I just recently had somebody call about selling their property, and he said to me, well, I have 7 brothers and sisters. We all inherited the property, but they all signed it over to me. And all of a sudden in my head, I went ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Like, we better double check all these people to see if there was any errors. And guess what? His dad was married, and she owns half the house.
Oh my God.
So he was like, I didn't even know my dad was married. So now he's got to find the woman, and he's been paying the taxes for the
Wow.
last like 8 years that he's had the house,
That's
not
crazy.
knowing that there was another co-owner. So now they have to file something. I forget what it's called. They have to file something in order to show that, to try to get her to kind of give up the house because he's been paying for the house for all these years.
So crazy. And there's a lot of like fraud with land deals too. I don't know how much you work with like just the sale of like a piece of land.
Yeah.
But a lot of times with vacant land, it's easier for, there's no one there. It's easier for people to pretend like they're actually
The owner.
the owner and conveying it. So whenever we get a closing to do that's vacant land, you have to be really careful.
Yeah, so like that's the same in like, I think a lot of states. I know this is kind of crazy, but when I was not even born, my mom traded her pig farm her pig farm for land
Really?
in Kentucky. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because she had to leave her pig farm. I know. And now my mom's a Jewish woman. I don't even have a pig farm, but okay.
Do you have pictures of this pig farm?
I do not. I'm sure they would have been in black and white so long ago. But anyways, before I was born, so my mom switched her pig farm for this land so she could leave to marry my dad in New York.
Oh my God.
So then the land was sitting there for years and years and years and years and years and years. And somebody put their trailer on the land, and guess what? They could not get these people off. And they're still there. Like, they rent out the trailer on the land.
Wow.
And you just can't get them off. Like, it's like impossible because, they left for 40 years and the land's just been sitting there for 40 years in Kentucky.
Right.
So one day I'll have some land with a trailer on it. And so anyway.
I've never been to Kentucky.
They haven't met me yet, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it happens.
Have you been to Kentucky?
I have.
Yeah.
Like a million times.
You have family there?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never been. I'll have to go.
I'm a Jewish New Yorker with family in Kentucky.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't know what bagels were. They do not know what bagels are.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you not? I was like little. I was like, how do you not know what a bagel is? I was like, I'm like looking at my cousins like, you don't know what a bagel is? I was like, it looks like a donut, but it's made out of bread. Like, anyway. So moving along. So title insurance is expensive. How is it determined?
Yeah. So it's what they
I don't
call
think it's cheap, but
what they call a promulgated rate that's set by the state of Florida. So every $500,000 home is the same, and then there's like a sliding scale as you kind of like go up or down.
Okay.
There's like a formula to figure it out. So it doesn't matter what like title company you go to, the title insurance is going to cost the same. Different title companies can have different fees. So like the important thing is just making sure that the people, the attorneys that you're hiring, like know what they're doing, how to like make sure that everything is good. So when you say it's expensive,
it's not expensive versus the cost of the home.
Right.
So
And it's
of course it's something, and that's why when clients are like, oh well, I don't want to spend like. I mean, listen, it can be as low as $2,000 if it's a lower price home, but it can be as much as $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, right? And by the way, the realtors don't determine this value. Like it's set across the board. So when people are, I actually had a deal where like I gave this in the estimate of the closing costs, and another realtor didn't, and they're like, well, your costs are more expensive. I go, it's not my cost. Like I have nothing to do with that.
The way I would say it, and it's unlike other insurance that we do at our company, which we could talk about in a little bit, it is a one-time expense. So like, although, maybe for, $1 million home, you might pay for the title insurance like $5-6 grand.
But you can refinance as many times and you don't need title insurance again.
Well, if you refinance, you need a new policy.
Okay.
But there are like reissue rates and other things that can make it cheaper if you do it within like a couple years and a certain amount of time.
Okay.
But it's the biggest investment in someone's life. So although, thankfully there are most people don't have an issue with someone saying that they actually have title to your home.
Right.
It is a one-time expense. I get it. No one wants to spend that type of money, but yes, compared to the home for $1 million, to make sure that you own it and you buy this policy. All insurance people think is annoying until you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, hold that thought. We're going to go to commercial right now. We're going to see our sponsors. We're going to see Title Brothers, one of our sponsors, and Max Fish with Nationwide Mortgage. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Whether you're buying, selling, refinancing, or building your dream home, you have a lot riding on your loan specialist. Max Fish, a top 1% mortgage loan officer in the nation, will give you a same-day qualifying quote. Max Fish is committed to providing his customers with mortgage services that exceed their expectations. Ensuring that you make the right choice for you and your family is his ultimate goal. Contact Max Fish today at 954-729-6933 or max.fisch@nwmcorp.net.
At Title Brothers LLC, our mission is to give you the best closing experience anywhere in the country. Founded in 2020 by Adam Lohman and Josh Weisman, Here at Title Brothers, we're your one-stop shop for residential real estate, title insurance, title and escrow services, real estate closing, and due diligence services. While primarily located in South Florida, we also host dozens of closings throughout the state and even electronically as requested. To contact the Title Brothers, call us at 954-995-4988 or visit our website and get a quick quote today.
Hi, welcome back to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. Just keeping it out there, if you guys are thinking about wanting to ask a question, you can call in live at 1-888-994-4995 Studio A. Again, that's 1-888-994-4995. If you're looking for a top agent, have lots of questions, need to sell a home, buy a home, need to rent out some investment property, not sure what you should do, give me a call at 954-650-0827. Again, 954-650-0827. And if you have questions about your title or you have questions about refinancing your home, you need a lawyer to look at something that has to do with real estate, definitely give Josh a call. Josh, you can be reached at
561-901-0770.
Great. So we are talking about title insurance, and I know we'll talk about some other interesting things that I think is interesting anyway. So basically the long and short of it is that people see it as an optional cost. They don't want to pay for it because it says optional, but in the end, this is one of your biggest investments in your life, and you have no idea what happened with the last person that did the work, because we all know people make mistakes. People are human, and they miss things. And they can miss something that, somebody had a wife, it was put down that they were a married person, they see only one signature, there should be two signatures, and you go to sell the house 15 years later, that person's dead, now you gotta find them. You decided to opt out of the choice of title insurance, and this can become a real big problem.
Yeah, it could be like a huge
And you have no idea what you're looking at. You don't,
litigation,
that's why we have
war,
lawyers.
money, and then maybe the house shouldn't have actually been conveyed to you. So, like Laura says, not because that's what we do. On each transaction, we don't make a whole lot. So honestly, just as like from a attorney perspective, just like I just closed on my home in February. I bought title insurance. Like I'm not. It's definitely. I would advise to do it.
So let me ask you a question. So let's just say that a person decided to opt out of buying title insurance, all right? And I'll stop beating a dead horse. They opt out to buy title insurance. Now it comes up that a wife should have signed on the title and they didn't, and only the husband signed on the title. What happens to the house? They didn't get title insurance. What happens to the house?
Well, and then what?
And
like
now the
someone
wife
else-
comes back and says, hey, I didn't give him permission to sell this house. I never signed on this. He sold this without my permission. What happens?
It's really it all depends. I mean, they're going to there's going to be.
And now you're responsible for your own defense, right?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of.
Of course, you're going to have to sue the closing agent.
Right.
And then
So
that closing agent's going to have to sue the original closing agent that didn't get it signed, right?
Right, and then the people are going to sue each other. There's just so much. It's just a crazy mess.
Right.
It's a crazy mess, and and sometimes people can, which thankfully we don't see this a whole lot.
I've actually seen it though a few times. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not common, but
Right.
it's definitely, it can happen, and to prevent, as long as you have the insurance policy, it can cover a lot of these fees. Sometimes I've heard of a story where the people they like settled it out just like amongst themselves, like with like money, but there's attorneys involved.
It's still money.
It's
and
still money,
attorneys,
right?
Yeah,
It's a headache.
Yeah. So, and title insurance will cover your attorney's costs and fees, right?
Yeah, there's like certain limitations, but yeah, they'll cover a lot of attorney's fees.
Limitations, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
But like a
okay.
lot though. It'll cover a lot. It just
Okay.
depends.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to stop beating a dead horse with title insurance, but I just thought it was a really important
Yeah.
topic to talk about, because I think that when you buy one of your largest investments, you want a peace of mind. So
For sure.
get title insurance,
Yep.
guys. Speaking about other things
Yeah.
going on, tonight I'm showing a house. Guy's moving from New Jersey, and the realtor calls me and she's like, "Hey, do you have an insurance estimate on this house?" And I'm like, I think I do, because I try to get them on. I said, I'm pretty sure I do. Let me see what I have so I can send it over to you.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, you know, people are starting to freak out about buying here because insurance is so much. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, so we actually, on our umbrella company, is called the Trace Group. I might have mentioned this before on another show, but we basically do legal, lending, and insurance. It actually stands for Tiger Real Estate Solutions Group, and the Trace, the three pillars, Trace in Spanish, like I'm not gonna say it with a Spanish accent because I'll sound stupid, but it's all good. But anyway, we do everything in the real estate transaction that Laura doesn't do. So like we can do the mortgage, we could do the title, and we could do the insurance. And insurance premiums for homeowners insurance have gone a little crazy just due to the hurricane last year and where insurance companies think that some waterfront properties are going to be, and Miami's going to be underwater, this and that. But you can still get coverage, and what I would say to that is it's just the price of insurance. Some people are worried that you can't actually get coverage. You can, you just have to pay for it. And if you're coming from other places, maybe even like New York City or California, where the market prices are still higher than here, to me, this place is still undervalued, in my opinion. But yeah, there's nothing you can do. The prices are the prices.
And we could talk about this forever, and we don't have a long time. We got about 3 minutes. But what I do want to say is that you're saying that you can get insurance.
Yeah,
you can get insurance if they might make you change your roof.
Yes.
You can get insurance if they might make you change your panels.
Right.
You can get insurance if they tell you have to get rid of your polybutylene piping.
Right. And to that point, there's a lot more stringent requirements with Citizens. And the reason I bring up Citizens is because it's the way to go right now. Like we're not the type of insurance company or any company to try to like make the extra $100 on every deal.
It's not even that. It was like 20, 30, 40 bucks, right? It's not a lot of money that you make per deal.
Right. So what I'm saying is a lot of, in every county, there's like for example, Palm Beach County, 700,000 and below
for Citizens,
for getting the
right?
Citizens, and
$1 million
Broward and
for
Miami-Dade.
Broward.
Exactly.
And I think it's 900 in Broward and $1 million in Miami-Dade.
Roughly $1 million in those.
Of the
So-
max coverage. And then after that, so if you're living in a $4 million house,
Right.
you're only going to have 900,000 in Broward.
Right. So what we've been seeing a lot is people that shop to us, they give us a quote, and maybe they were 600,000 in Palm Beach County, and their insurance agent didn't even give them Citizens as an option because
Paying less.
They pay less, and also so that person, like it's like a quarter of the price sometimes or a third of the price, but they want to go to the private markets because they want to
Get paid.
But we're
And
going
I
to do the
said-
best for the client, and Citizens does have more stringent requirements, like you're saying, but it's worth it to get the client in there. But then people are worried they're going to get, pushed out, like down the
Right.
line as prices go up. But it's just part of what we have to deal with today.
Well, we're running out of time, but if you do want to talk more about insurance, definitely reach out to us on our Facebook page, on our websites, give us a call, and we can definitely set up a time that would work for you to talk to you about insurance and what kind of rates we can get for you. They're great at getting you quotes, and people, I know you don't want to leave your insurance agent you've been with for 20 years, but unfortunately in this market you're going to have to shop around. So tune in next week where we're going to talk more about mortgages, and we'll see you soon. Have a great night.
Thank you for tuning in for Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. To join the conversation, call us at the studio, 888-994-4995 Studio A, or contact Laura directly at 954-650-0827. Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. We look forward to seeing you next